Besides trying to cut the ropes with metal in the plane, I wished I could chop away my life problems too, but the plane started tilting over as the water rushed in. Laura quickly cut the ropes and grabbed the threshold. She felt like she was about to become the clumsy queen of falls, but without enough energy, she tumbled back into the plane, and the metal keeping her up seemed to be waving the white flag. Laura screamed, "Parachute," and reached for it. In this nail-biting moment, the parachute opened up like a genius studying flight and zipped off towards the woods. She felt intense pain, realizing a metal shard was in her belly. She pulled it out like an unwanted wand and tumbled to the seaside. The seaside was moist and silent, no boats visible. Laura realized she was in a deserted area, awaiting a surprise only to find no one responded. Laura leaned against a rock to catch some zest when she heard what sounded like a UFO. Startled, she quickly ducked behind the rock. She peeked out to see it was the jungle killer rocket sent by Matthews, as if ignoring all of Laura's life choices. Rocket gripped Laura's neck with force, but she bit it on like a little puppy. In pain, Rocket became the busy bee of the day. Rocket choked her, but before fainting, Laura found a rock, smashing it on Rocket. She clutched Rocket, riding him like a rodeo star, bringing to use her boxing lessons. Who would have guessed that this move would actually work? Laura pushed down hard on Rocket, burying his face in the mud as if turning him into a piece of clay. Not until Rocket stopped moving did Laura realize, "Whoa, I've killed someone." The 21-year-old felt pain and mixed emotions. Suddenly, her senses tingled, noticing a shadow in the woods. Seeing Laura, it fled, and she thought, "So familiar." She chased after it. The shadow dashed to the seaside, climbed the cliff-eye rope. Laura followed, but the rope vanished with the figure. Panic-stricken, Laura insisted on seeing him, climbing the cliff barehanded into a cave and finally revealing his true face. Her hunch was right, it was Richard, her dad, alive. But he looked a little bit like he took a wrong turn into Crazy Town. His world was filled with hallucinations until Laura offered him her unique jewelry like she was handing him a scallion pancake. Richard finally realized the girl before him was indeed his daughter. After 7 years apart, they reunited in a scene that was both touching. At that moment, Laura, who'd been putting on a brave front, finally broke down in her father's arms, clutching her wound while Richard stitched and cleaned it up. A very warm scene indeed. Knowing her father wouldn't leave her, Laura finally relaxed and drifted off to sleep. While Matthew's excavation team had their own comical advancements, they finally dug up the entrance to the ancient tomb, and Matthew sighed in relief. After 7 long years on this island, it felt like leveling up in a tough video. Get Trinity to send a helicopter. When Laura woke up, her dad was missing. Turns out he was by the seaside styling his hair. Since it was the first time in 7 years he saw his daughter, he had to look sharp. And of course, the first thing he asked was whether she was going to Oxford or Cambridge. Dads always worry about their kids' education, but Laura felt resentful he left her as a child. 7 years gone. He did this to thwart Trinity and needed to hide. Quick, burn the notes. Matthews won't find the tomb. But when he heard his daughter had handed Matthews a notebook, he was mad as a hornet. All those 7 years of hard work went down the drain. He thought Laura shouldn't have come here. But Laura was convinced they could stop Matthews from entering the tomb together. She was determined. Richard was terrified of Matthews' forces, thinking they couldn't win. But fiery Laura didn't think so. Spotting her favorite bow and arrow in the corner, she decided to go solo against Matthews. Turns out her instincts were spot on. Laura dashed to Matthews' camp, sneaked in and found the workers' whereabouts. She shot one of the guards, setting off an escape plan. Workers, run. Just then, the guards noticed and opened fire. To help her friends escape, Laura showed off her martial arts, moving effortlessly while shooting arrows like a video game boss. Just as she planned to escape, she spotted old Dad Richard at the tomb entrance. A troublesome father indeed, so she couldn't chase after him. Richard stared at the tomb's mechanism, completely unaware that his old nemesis Matthews was sneaking up behind him. Matthews wanted Richard to help him open the door, but Richard stood firm, facing death's threat. Matthews was demanding Richard to block the door when an arrow suddenly landed perfectly on a guard's surprise. It was Laura who had arrived too. To ensure her dad's safety, Laura set down her bow and arrow, ready to open the gate herself. She had already cracked the unlocking secret while on the boat. She turned the gate's levers. With a crash, walls fractured, revealing the underground passage. They stepped in a dream for adventurers. Just then, a little guy stepped on a trap, and everyone panicked thinking something was activated, while the guy next to him was busy posting on social media. Everyone was on edge, curious about what would happen in the corridor. Meanwhile, a big bearded dude teased his buddy, only to find out in the next second they were in. If only we'd called those 3 Chinese experts. Laura spotted a deep pit ahead, and it was filled with corpses. A truly bizarre and horrifying. Seeing the piles of corpses, everyone broke out in a cold sweat, and Matthews tossed a torch in. The horrifying sight left them all shivering in fear. Bad news spread. Everyone delved deeper into the palace, and Richard found an inscription at the corridor entrance. The Queen of Death turns daylight into night, and only death can bring life. He nearly fainted. But 1 second later, all hell broke loose. Everyone unfortunately triggered traps. As the metal plates fell away, and Laura almost tumbled into the pit, it felt just like something out of a movie. There's got to be a way to solve this. Laura found a golden barrel by the door, thinking this could be her last hope. Oh boy, beads of sweat rolled down. Laura spotted a keyhole at the door clearly. They needed a key to open it for a chance at survival. Richard emphasized that the golden barrels had jade stones, and everyone threw their stones towards Laura, hoping she'd have better luck. Laura discovered every jade stone had a different color, a colorful riddle. But even after inserting several pieces, nothing happened. Hey! If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling adventures ahead.